It's the Cubs and the White Sox on NBC Sports Chicago, home of the authentic fan. And we're inside Guaranteed Rate Field. It has really cooled off tonight, and the Cubs look to end a short two-game skid, Game 2 of this interleague series. Great to have you with us tonight. Jim DeShays and Len Casper with you, and the Cubs will hand the ball to their ace, Jon Lester, to be the stopper.
Yeah, they were hoping to get a bounce after the long anticipated off day. That didn't happen yesterday, so the old adage, momentum is the next night's starting pitcher. Well, you feel very comfortable handing the ball to Jon Lester these days. Over his last 6 starts, he's 4-1 with a 1.73 ERA, 7 shutout last time out against Cincinnati, allowed just 2 infield hits, a season-high 9 strikeouts for Jon in that start against the Reds.
The White Sox really like Lucas Giolito. It has been a trying season, to say the least.
Really struggled, especially with control early on. Actually has been better in the second half of the season, but check out these numbers. Here in his home ballpark, 3-6, 14 starts, a 7.91 ERA. That is the highest home ERA for any starting pitcher in Major League Baseball.
It is crunch time. The Cubs lead is down to a game and a half in the division. Their magic number for a playoff spot is 4. Their magic number for the Central is 8. Coming up, Jon Lester will make start number 31 here in 2018. Cubs and White Sox, Game 2, next.
Guaranteed Rate Field with this Miller Lite game report. The Northsiders looking to even this crosstown series and keep as much separation from the Brewers as they possibly can. And talking with Jason Hayward earlier today as this division race tightens, he says, hey, this is where we lean on our experience as a core group. We have been through a lot of ups and downs, whether it's pennant races into the playoffs. This is why we have the unwavering confidence we do in one another.
Beautiful, and it's amazing to see the confidence come in, the experience that we gain, and just how much fun these challenges have been for all of us to be able to lean on each other and go through them together. when you see guys, I mean, honestly, for me, the day I walked into this door, you know, seeing, you know, Riz, KB, you know, Javi, you know, a number of guys, but just seeing them from then to now, like it's a huge difference in a good way.
And another one of those guys, Daniel Murphy. He could play a big part in the Cubs' success the next couple weeks. He led off the opener with a home run and will look to get things rolling tonight for the Northsiders, as we have Game 2 coming your way here on NBC Sports Chicago.
NBC Sports Chicago is brought to you in part by Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Ford, who invites you to go further in their fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out our entire lineup at your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Menards, save big money at Menards. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Clear skies above, but it has cooled off considerably. Certainly the scent of autumn is in the air as the Cubs and the White Sox play Game 2. The Sox a 10-4 winner yesterday. Big Lucas Giolito on the mound for the home team. And let's dig into the Cubs Southwest starting lineup that will face him. Murphy is homered now in his last 2 starts. Zobrist will hit second ahead of Javier Baez. Anthony Rizzo in the cleanup spot. Chris Bryant batting 5th, playing left. Jason Hayward gets a start in center field, hitting 6th. Wilson Contreras had that huge series in May against the White Sox at Wrigley Field. He's catching and batting 7th. The DH Kyle Schwarber 8th, and third baseman David Bodie 9th.
White Sox defensively, and brought to you by BP. Outfield, same alignment. Lamar left, Engel center, Garcia right. Yomer Sanchez in there tonight at third base. Anderson and Moncada up the middle. Matt Davidson is the first baseman. Kevin Smith gets the starting nod behind the plate tonight. And the Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher for the White Sox is Lucas Giolito. He's a 24-year-old right-hander. He's making his 31st start. He's 10-11 with an ERA of 5.77. The White Sox are 13-15 in his 28 starts. And he goes fastball, change, slider, curve. Fastball velocity averaging 92-93.
That's Mark Ripperger behind the plate. 5-year veteran Doug Eddings at first, the crew chief Joe West at second, and Chad Whitson over at third.
Giolito, a big kid, 6'6", 245.
First pitch of the game is lined foul to left. The leadoff man is presented by Benny's Beverage Depot. If Murphy gets a hit, and yesterday he homered, Benny's will donate $100 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. Lined and caught by Moncada for the first out. And a hard hit ball by Daniel Murphy.
Yeah, after going through a little bit of a downturn, it looks like he's back on top of his game. Good swing there at the slow hook. Just didn't get the result he was hoping for.
Now Ben Zobrist playing right field. A switch hitter batting from the left side. Sanchez, the third baseman, in on the grass. As Ben takes downstairs for a ball.
Yeah, I wonder which scouting report he's looking at.
Cool 61 degrees as we get started this evening. Big right-hander coming back, and a foul out of play. Both Giolito and Lester pitched in that May series at Wrigley. Giolito with a win. He walked 7 guys, but they got 3 runs in 5 2/3, and 1 Sox win in that set. That was May 13th. There's a base hit out into center, and Zobrist has a 1-out single.
Well, Murphy put a good swing on the curveball, hit it hard for an out. Zobrist gets a slow hook, whacks it into center for a knock. Giolito in his start back at Wrigley earlier this year, the command, as Len mentioned, wasn't there. The velocity was down too, but that's picked up here in the second half of the season. Overall, his entire game is picked up in the second half of the season.
Here's Javier Baez. Still leading the National League in RBIs with 107. Also 319 total bases, and he hits a deep drive to left. Gone! 2-run homer, Javier Baez. That thing got out of here in a big-time hurry.
Yeah, different than you typically see from Javi with the long ball. Typically, it's that high towering home run. This is a line drive, a missile. Mar was deep, so he was back there almost in position to make a play on this ball. Just didn't have enough spring in his legs to go up and get it. There's your Ford home run replay and an early lead for the Cubs. Baez goes deep for the 34th time. He waffled it.
RBIs 108 and 109. Anthony Rizzo takes high for a ball. Not much launch angle on that home run.
I'm going to go with 19 degrees of launch.
Okay. Well, I would say low 20s. StatCast AI powered by AWS.
Hey, look at that. And I didn't go over. I'm going to be in the showcase. 361, not a big one. But it counts just the same.
Swing and a miss.
Good let up.
2-1 on Rizzo.
I mentioned Giolito's been better here of late. His last 7 starts, he's 3-2 with a 4.31. Those aren't eye-popping numbers, but for a guy who's pitched with an ERA around 6 most of the year, it's a marked improvement.
Rizzo pops it up. Sanchez ventures into left field and makes the grab with Lamar right behind him. Giolito Leads the major leagues in a category he'd rather not. Earned runs allowed. Now 108 surrendered. As he faces Chris Bryant with 2 outs. Bryant hitting 5th, playing left. 1 for 5 with a run scored yesterday. Ball 1. A little too close for comfort, as the Brewers have gained 2 games in the standings since Wednesday, trailing the Cubs by 1.5. They've got a tough matchup tonight in Pittsburgh. They're facing Trevor Williams. And that game is scoreless in the top of the first. The right shoulder of Kevin Smith.
Yeah, it's amazing at this time of year in a pennant race like this. Perspective changes from one day to the next. A couple days ago, the Cubs had a 3.5 game lead. Pretty comfortable inside of 10 games to play, and then drop a couple games, and all of a sudden it's a 1.5 games, and you're thinking, uh-oh.
Cubs know they are not going to be handed anything. Their goal is to pile up wins and not worry about what the Brewers are doing. They will not play Milwaukee again in the regular season.
Yeah, that's the goal, but the reality is they'll hope to pile up wins and continue to worry about what the Brewers are doing.
You'll take Brewers
you're on that scoreboard all night long at this stage of the year.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Chris Bryant. On the ground to Anderson, the shortstop. And that will do it in the first. Javier Baez, a big-time NL MVP candidate, and a go-ahead 2-run homer. Cubs have the early lead. Season best 19 hits in their 10-4 win on Friday, and really everybody doing it top and bottom, mostly bottom of their lineup. Anderson leading off. Sanchez did not play yesterday. Garcia, Davidson, Castillo, and Smith in the middle. He hit the big go-ahead home run. Moncada has 6 hits over his last 2 games. Lamar and Engel 8 and 9 to round it out.
Cubs afield this evening. Bryant left, Hayward center, Zobrist right, Bodie third, Baez short, Murphy second, Rizzo first, Contreras is behind the plate. It's brought to you by BP, the Lexus Experience Amazing Starting Pitcher. is the big lefty John Lester, 16-6 with a 3.43 earned run average.
His first pitch to Anderson is a strike.
A lot of cutters last time out. It's fastballs, cutters, curves, and change for Big John.
34 years old, 6'4", 240. We've got a power forward pitching matchup tonight.
Yeah, we do. Big men out there on the bump. Talked about Giolito's struggles in his home ballpark. Well, Lester has been wonderful on the road, 10-2 with a 2.82 away from Wrigley. That's the 5th best road ERA in the National League.
Cubs need a good outing from him. As a pitching staff, they've allowed 19 runs over their last 2 games. Both losses. There's some debate about the word stopper in terms of baseball jargon. Is your stopper your closer to stop a rally, or is your stopper a starting pitcher who stops losing streaks?
Your starter's your stopper.
I think
your stopper's a starter who stops.
That's what I think.
Who wins a big game for you? Yeah, that's. There's no opinion to be had here, folks. That's what it is.
Anderson strikes out on a curveball. I'm just saying some people have used stopper to refer to a closer.
Yeah, that's well, they're mistaken, and it's okay to make mistakes. Just don't repeat them. Learn from your mistakes and then move on. Don't look back. Something may be gaining on you, said Satchel Paige.
Here comes Yolmer Sanchez, a switch hitter, tied for the American League lead with 9 triples.
Just a 195 from this side of the plate.
8 home runs and 9 triples.
That's an odd stat line.
Fastball off the outside corner.
Talked about this a lot recently because the Cubs have so many left-handed starters, and it seems like we've seen a few here lately too. Always run the risk of making it easy on that lefty when you run an all right-handed lineup against him. Allows him to get into a nice groove. I mean, it's counterintuitive because the platoon advantage says you want right-handed bats against a left-handed pitcher, but I think there's value in having a left-handed bat or 2 in the lineup, even against the toughest lefties.
3-2. The White Sox do not have a left-handed batter in their starting lineup. They have 2 switch hitters, Sanchez and Moncada.
And they both have been really bad against left-handed pitching.
Ground ball toward the hole. Backhanded Baez, but the throw, I think, bounced out of play. It did. Call made by Doug Eddings at first. I think it hit a camera in the well, and Anthony Rizzo is getting clarification on it. I thought it actually went out of play too.
Yeah, and
we'll get another
Joe
look.
wants to know. Javi gets his ball in good shape. He probably had a little more time to set his feet and get into that throw a little bit better.
So they're going to give Sanchez an infield hit, and then the error on Baez allows him to go to second. Well, it looked like it hit both railings, but I think it hit an object behind the railings. And that is that. Fortunately, it did not hit Doug Glanville. Here's Abisail Garcia. Kelly's down there too.
Yeah, it didn't hit Doug because Kelly jumped in front of him to save him.
Runner at second with 1 out. And Garcia bounces foul off himself.
Last night was an oddity in that the Cubs gave up 10 runs. They did not walk a man, nor did they commit an error in the field. Normally when you give up that many runs, but kind of a sloppy game. That wasn't the case. Just a lot of hitting from the White Sox.
Yep, give them credit. They had a good approach, and they were able to string together 4 consecutive hits in 3 different innings. The 2nd, the 6th, and again in the 7th. Swing and a miss. A high fastball. Ricky Renteria, former Cubs manager, recently had to spend a few nights in the hospital. Unfortunately, is okay.
Good two-strike breaking ball there. Looking for the chase. Garcia wouldn't bite. That's what you want to do with that 2-pitch curveball, though. Garcia doesn't walk much. You can say that about many of these White Sox hitters. Get ahead, expand. They're likely to chase.
One and 2 on Garcia. Well, Jose Abreu again. He's dealing with a thigh infection. I doubt we will see him this weekend.
Yeah, there's a chance he might not play the rest of the year.
He's certainly a presence in their lineup. He will end a string of 25 and 100 seasons to start his big league career. At least 25 homers and 100 RBIs. He did it 4 years in a row. One and 2 the count. 2-0 Cubs here in the first inning. That one bounced in front of the plate. Well, Javier Baez, really the captain out there. He's moving all over the place. He was waving his arms at Contreras before that pitch. He's reminding Lester to keep an eye on Sanchez. Bounced up the middle and into center field, and the White Sox get on the board. Seeing eye single for Garcia right between Murphy and Baez, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, a little bit surprised that ball got through. I thought Murphy would be able to at least knock it down. And if not Daniel, then Javi. But I think Murphy's proximity to this ball is the reason why Baez probably didn't go for it. Topspin had a little extra pace and just beyond his reach.
So that brings up Davidson. 2 hits, a walk, and RBI scored twice on Friday. Curve is a little bit inside for ball 1.
Ball in play misfortune here for Lester so far. Ground ball to short, goes for a knock. Ball up the middle, a knock. That's the case for Quintana last night too.
A little bit of that yesterday.
Up a whole lot of hard contact. He struck out 8.
A soft liner to Hayward in center. We're out number 2. Castillo had 3 of their 19 hits. Well, he's the DH tonight. He caught yesterday.
He's had hamstring problems, spent a bunch of time on the disabled list earlier this year, so not really a threat to run. But normally with Lester on the mound, guys are taking a more aggressive lead anyway, just to kind of try to get in his head a little bit.
Garcia certainly is not doing that. And a strike on the outside corner. 1-1. Castillo signed with the Cubs back in 2004. Spent over a decade in the Cubs organization. Swing and a miss, 1-2. He's now 31.
He first came to the big leagues in 2010, just a handful of games the first couple of years, and started to get more regular playing time in 2013. Lifetime .259 hitter with 86 home runs.
This start by Lester is the Cubs' 89th by a lefty. That ties a single season club record set in 1966. Toward the hole again. Sliding play. Baez. The throw to first. Got him.
All rise.
So an eventful first inning for Javier Baez. 2-run homer, throwing error, and then this gem. 2-1 Cubs after an inning.
Game report, Cubs in front 2-1 thanks to Javier Baez blasting his 34th homer of the year. Continues to make his case for NL MVP, and we saw what he did there from a highlight standpoint once again defensively, and Joe Maddon said he'll take this guy at shortstop above the rest.
Might be the best overall shortstop in the league right now. You wanted to grade it all out with his offense and defense, base running, etc. American League, there's some competition on that side, but overall, I mean, he's a top 3, top 5 shortstop in all of baseball right now, even though he has not played there a whole lot.
Well, Lynn and JD, we can continue to debate that NL MVP, but Javier Baez, he makes it fun to watch every night, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like it's Baez and Yelich with a few other guys in the mix, but it feels like those are the top two choices currently. Hayward bounced out to the pitcher. Now a strike on Wilson Contreras. Or could it be a starting pitcher?
Somebody made a statistical case for Jacob deGrom being the MVP the other day, and you can make that case. It's not going to happen.
Jam shot roller cut off by Sanchez. Yeah, I don't think, I mean, you can make a case based on merit that he deserves strong consideration, but I don't think it would happen.
No, right. Yeah.
Here's Schwarber with 2 outs.
You can make a case for Lorenzo Cain. Still wins above replacement and the defensive value he brings. But I'm with you. I think it's Javi and Yelich.
Cubs certainly don't want to let Giolito settle in. After the Baez homer, he has retired the next 4 without a ball getting to the outfield. Well, I guess technically Rizzo's did, but it goes as a P5. One-oh, swing and a miss on a changeup.
Changeup is what Baez hit for his home run, but it looks like Giolito's got a lot of confidence in that pitch. Fastball curveball was what earned him the reputation coming through the Nationals organization. He was a first-round pick of Washington, and his curveball really graded out highly. Like any pitcher, he's made some changes as he's developed. You can see, big power right-hander with the elevated fastball and the sharp down-breaking curveball.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. On a change.
Yeah, that's a change up to the lefties. Appears to be a very good weapon. Great hand speed, same arm slot as the heater. Very difficult to read as a hitter.
Schwarber fouls it off. Going into 2015, MLB.com ranked Giolito as the #1 right-handed pitching prospect in baseball. He was still in the national system. Red Sox got him in the Adam Eaton deal prior to last year, and he strikes out Schwarber looking. So a 1-2-3 second. That's Giolito's first strikeout. It's 2-1 Cubs early. baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. They had a rain delay in Pittsburgh last night in the 5th inning. The Pirates were leading the Brewers 3-1. But after the rain delay, the Brewers really got to the Pirates bullpen. Bunch of home runs. Eric Kratz going deep. And Milwaukee won that game 8-3. Santana got hurt. Francisco Cervelli had to leave due to illness. Just a bad night all around for the Pirates. And a strike on Kevin Smith, the catcher, and he lines one into left. He is 3 for 3. Single, double homer in this series.
Yeah, had the big blow in the ball game last night off Jose Quintana. Got things rolling for the White Sox.
Corona standings, the Cardinals a winner today. Tyler O'Neill, a game-ending homer in the 10th. Yoan Moncada, switch hitter batting from the right side. Fouls out of play off to the right.
He, like Sanchez, struggles from this side. .213 batter from the right side of the plate. Struck out a ton this year. He's young, still figuring things out. He has tremendous bat speed. The expectation is he's going to be a superstar in this league.
Congrats to the Atlanta Braves. They are the National League Eastern Division champions. 5-3 win over the Phillies today. Bounce to third. Bodie's got it. Throw to second for one. The relay not in time. It's a fielder's choice for Moncada.
Nice job by Bodie going to second base there. I thought initially he was just going to go to first base with his throw, then made the adjustment and got the lead man. Short little hop. You better be careful out there at second base. That's the White Sox are contemplating a challenge.
Ronald Acuna Jr. 26 home runs. 19 after the All-Star break. And he's done it all before he even turns 21. And Murphy was on the bag. And the batter now is Ryan Lamar.
He had a big night last night.
He did. 3 for 3, knocked in 3. Snap toss to first. Good dig by Rizzo.
Yeah, we'll see if Ricky wants to run with Moncada here. Lamar hits the ball on the ground a lot, so potential for the double play is certainly there.
John, one win off the NL lead. Max Scherzer. He's looking for his 17th tonight, pitching on 6 days of rest. 7 innings, no runs, and a 1-0 win last Saturday against the Reds. You mentioned his road prowess. The Cubs have won 11 of his 14 starts on the road. And this is since last year's All-Star break. The Cubs have 2 lefties with at least 20 wins.
J-Hap's got a little Woody Harrelson going on there. There's the moon. Is today the first official day of fall? I think it is.
Sounds like it. 22nd. Feels like it.
Yeah. Yep. Light little cool crispness to the air. Feels like playoff baseball time.
the dirt, knocked down by Contreras. 3-2. We'll see if the White Sox will have Moncada on the move. I would imagine so. He's not running, and the pitch is hit pretty well to right, but it'll be caught in fair territory by Zobrist.
Everybody in the Cubs need everyone's support during these final few games of the regular season. Tickets still available for the final week. Games with the Pirates and the Cardinals. Get your tickets now at Cubs.com. Should be a lot of fun.
Adam Engel will bat with 2 outs and a man at first. How about this note? The Cleveland Indians have become the first team ever to have 4 starting pitchers with 200 strikeouts.
Kluber, Bauer, Carrasco,
Clevenger.
Bauer got there despite having been shut down for a while.
Moncada on his way to second. The throw is snagged by Murphy and kept out of center field. So a wild pitch charged to John. Tying run in scoring position with 2 outs. Engel hitting .294 over his last 28 games. Over .240 overall. Nice night to bring a blanket.
And the blankets, the ski caps are back.
In between, and he went. That is Lester's second strikeout. And the White Sox strand 1, Cubs 2, White Sox 1 after 2. Bodie will lead it off. Daniel Murphy is on deck, and with more on Murphy atop the Cubs order, Doug Glanville is with us tonight. Hi, Doug.
Hey guys, when you think about Daniel Murphy, throughout his career, he's hit all over the lineup. But one of the critical factors is that he's been in Chicagoland a lot more in this leadoff role. So you look throughout his career, only 34 games at the leadoff, but 22 of those have been here as a Chicago Cub. As I say, 22 should be from the 2018 season. So that's sort of a recent trend. When he was at his peak in Washington, the last 2 years, 2016 and 17, where he had MVP considerations, he was much more in the 3, 4, and 5 holes. So that's really where he's settled in. So it's a little new that he's been doing much more leadoff, which has been part of this sort of Cubs culture, as Joe Maddon has moved a lot of guys to that #1 slot when he wants to get them going. So we'll see how he kind of fits into the scheme once they get a little bit more rhythm with that lineup.
The 0-2 to Bodie, and David chased one out of the zone for strike 3. You know, the philosophy here, Doug, everybody who's done it, they've said, just do you, right? Don't try to be a leadoff guy. Just be yourself. And it has worked, as you've said.
Well, you know, it's a different day. I think certainly in my time, sort of mid-90s, mid-2000s, much more this sense of prototypical leadoff. You know, your walk guy, speed, steal bases. It's a very different culture now. You know, you got a lot of strikeouts now. Home run is king. And so the emphasis is different about who's going to be the leadoff. You see how Joe Maddon uses it, which is much more, okay, let's get the guys going. Let's kind of set up the 3, 4 guys to have this 1-2 punch ahead of them getting on base. You look at what the White Sox are doing with Tim Anderson, who's a very aggressive hitter in the leadoff slot. So, you know, the consideration is different today. And certainly with Daniel Murphy's a guy who can generally make contact, spray the ball around, not necessarily a burner, but a guy's going to get on base a lot.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them really fits the profile of a typical leadoff guy for different reasons. You know, Murphy's a high average hitter, so he'll have a high on-base percentage, but it's not like he works a lot of walks. And Anderson doesn't walk much at all, but he has the speed you like at the top of the order. And the other part about it with the Cubs, too, is with Joe hitting his pitcher 8th and the position player 9th, that changes the vibe, to use Joe's word, for that leadoff guy, where there may be some more RBI opportunities. And I think in the case of both clubs, the fact that there isn't, you know, that prototypical leadoff guy, whether you're looking for speed or that on base, the guy's going to draw a ton of walks and work a lot of deep counts. The fact that they don't really have, you know, neither club has that, then you have to kind of search for some other options.
3-1 is lofted out on the left for Lamar, and he makes the grab. I think the other big change in this game is you see, just in general, I think managers determining who are my 3 best hitters and hitting them 1, 2, 3. Toronto did that when they still had Bautista for a while, but also hitting your best hitter second. That's a change, and I think Joe's done it when he has had the pitcher bat 8 to create some more RBI opportunities. Joey Votto did it for a while in Cincinnati before moving back to the 3rd spot. I think the other part, just get a guy like Votto as many plate appearances as possible. Just math, right?
Yeah. Put a guy at the top of the batting order over the long summer, he's going to get a lot more turns than the guy hitting in the middle of the batting order.
I want to ask Doug, and I'll have to do it after the break. But remind me, Doug, I have a question for you that JD has answered in the past. It's always a good debate. 2-1 Cubs midway in the 3rd.
checking and an official Cubs MasterCard debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC.
Tim Anderson will lead off an inning for the second time. And Doug, so I wanted to ask you about lineup protection. We've got a former pitcher and a former hitter. JD thinks protection of that idea can be overrated, in that if he's facing a Barry Bonds or a Joey Votto, it doesn't matter who's on deck. He's going to pitch carefully to him. So I guess the question would be, if you could hit before or behind a guy like Joey Votto, which would you pick? Now, I'm asking a guy who led off a lot, so he probably would always be at the top. But would most hitters rather be ahead of a superstar or behind him in the lineup?
Yeah, I'll hit in front of him for sure, especially in my case where my mentality was much more about scoring runs. You know, and Votto's a guy, or something, they're going to drive me in. I mean, when I signed with the Texas Rangers in '03, I was like giddy at night thinking that I might actually score 200 runs. I'm like, I'm going to score 200 runs this year. Do you see this lineup? So they had A-Rod, they had Carl Everett, they had Juan Gonzalez, Michael Young. It was Rafael Palmeiro. It was absolutely ridiculous, this lineup. So I just thought about setting the table. I mean, that was my job. But I also knew that they're going to pitch to me. They're not going to pitch around me to get to A-Rod. So that was an easy one.
That is deep, and it's gone. Tim Anderson with a home run, tucked it just inside the foul pole, and we are tied at 2. Well, the 2 homers we've seen tonight, JD, have been absolute bullets.
They've just been line drive shots, not the majestic towering home run, but again, they all count. It's number 20 for Anderson. Certainly brings some pop to the top of the batting order. Looked like a cutter. They're trying to get in on him, and he gets the hands pulled in. Short strokes it, and out she goes. Talk about this good work that John Lester has done of late over his last 6 starts, a 1.73 ERA, and during that stretch he had allowed just 1 home run.
That is a milestone homer for Anderson, who has 26 stolen bases. He is now the 5th White Sox player with a 2020 campaign. Tommy Agee, Maglio Ordonez, Ray Durham, and Alex Rios did it twice.
Yeah, that's a tough stroke. When a guy throws cutters like Lester, it's hard to keep the ball fair when he works in on the hands because there's so much movement.
Hit hard, and it did bounce, so Murphy has to throw to first.
You watch this stroke, I mean, he's trying to bore the ball in. That's what he wants to do, sort of get you off your feet. So you have to really keep your hands in there to get the barrel to the ball, because the tendency when the ball is literally following you in, which is what cutters do, is that you try to hook it, and you end up spinning off of it and hitting it foul. So to be able to keep it fair, you really have to get that bat head way out there and not do too much to try to spin off of it. So very small margin for error there. And Tim Anderson showed his really quick hands to be able to make that kind of contact.
Garcia fouls, so they've got the White Sox necklace, I guess, guys put on after they hit a home run.
Apparently, yeah.
The dugout.
It's like every team has to have props now to celebrate the home run. The Cubs have the waffle maker and the chain of fame.
2 strikes to Garcia. 2-2 tie. Baez hit a 2-run homer in the top of the first. Garcia knocked in a run in that inning. Anderson with a leadoff homer here in the third.
Clearly fastballs up, part of the game plan against Garcia. We saw it last night. We're seeing it again here tonight.
Was in a hittable spot. Hey, as you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the Hold True moment later in tonight's game. We saw Contreras he called for the curveball, then he put his glove up as if to get Garcia's attention, and then went back down for the curveball. And this one a much more favorable spot for John.
Yeah, Lester's, has not really been able to really put them away sort of earlier. He's been working with the cutter a lot, fastballs in, and a lot of it's leaked out over the heart of the plate when he's tried to go back to that fastball. A lot of his curveballs have been bouncing and not getting the tees. So you look at the curveballs. You've seen a lot of this tonight with Contreras having to go down. Those bounces, and the White Sox hitter really have not chased it very often. And that one literally bounced before the plate. So what happens is when you're missing by that much with your curveball, then the hitters start eliminating it. They say, okay, well, unless I really see it up in the zone, I'm not going to take a chance. So he's had to go back to that fastball, and the hitters are now sitting on it. Particularly with Garcia, you've seen him throw that cutter in where he's tied him up very well. And then eventually, if you throw so many, eventually you're going to make that mistake out over the plate. And that's how the White Sox got their first run with Garcia's base hit up the middle.
2-2 curve and knocked down by John. And the throw dug out by Rizzo. So he got away with a curve that was, I think, not where he wanted it, and able to make the play defensively.
Yeah, this was a good play because he's been using that bounce pass on throws to first base. Didn't really have a lot of time here because he had to scramble after it after knocking it down. And obviously, you better miss down as opposed to up, and Rizzo usually will bail you out.
And sometimes not having that time, no time to think about it, can be the best thing. You just quickly react.
Swing and a miss on a changeup. Matt Davidson.
Shaved his stash.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Daniel Day-Lewis thing is gone.
Tried it again. John thought it was a strike. Ripperger thought it was low.
Still want to franchise that name, Ripperger.
Oh, JD dropped a
Ripper
Burger.
Burger. I call him Ripper Burger. It flows better.
It's a franchise, 5 through and everything.
A big crowd tonight. Season series tied at 2 apiece. The Cubs are 42-37 on the road. They will finish with a winning mark on the road for the 4th consecutive season. The last time the Cubs did that, over 100 years ago, 11 straight seasons, 1902 to 1912. 2-2 after 3.
spring travel to Sloan Park in Mesa, Arizona. VIP packages on sale now, including game tickets, hotel accommodations, a rental car, Cubs swag, and a private meet and greet with Cub players and personnel. For more information, visit Cubs.com/destinations.
On the road, the Cubs 42-37. They've had a winning mark every year under Joe Madden. Guess who's batting? It's got to be Baez. Always affects the crowd when he comes to bat. 0-1 on him. He hit a 2-run homer in the first inning.
Giolito has gotten into a very nice groove now with all of his pitches.
Knocked down Davidson. And did he beat him? He did, barely. He wanted to flip to Giolito, but then he realized Baez was racing down the line.
Davidson with nice glove work, and by the time he gets up, realizes he still has the ball. It gets a little dicey there at the end. The last minute lunge by Baez just a little bit late. I have it. Should I toss it? Slight moment of panic. Let's go to the bag. Well, because Baez was selling out going down the line.
Here's Rizzo 0 for 1. Makes a curveball low. So 9 in a row retired by Giolito since the Baez homer. Missed on a fastball.
About Giolito's improved work here of late. In his last 7, a 4.31 ERA, 5 of the last 7 quality starts. A couple clunkers in there, but he's also had a number of really good ones. First half of the season, he walked almost as many as he struck out. A strikeout rate of 14%, which is well below league average. A walk rate of 13%, which is well above league average. But in the second half, he's kind of sitting right around league average, striking out 20% and walking 9.
Strike 2 called, 2-2.
So to sum up, he's been better in the second half than he was in the first, because he's striking out more people and walking less. There will not be a quiz. Just take my word for it.
Foul tip, strike 3. Well, Cubs ran into a good one yesterday. Reynaldo Lopez, he went 7 innings. Gave up just 5 hits. 1 run on the Murphy leadoff homer, struck out 8.
Lopez and Giolito came to the White Sox in the same deal that sent Adam Eaton to the Nationals.
Ball 1 to Bryant.
White Sox decided to dismantle, and they picked up a number of really good prospects. Moncada, the 2 pitchers we've talked about. The kids they got from the Cubs last year for Quintana, Eloy Jimenez, Dylan Cease, both project to be very good major leaguers.
Giolito, as JD mentioned, gave up the home run to Baez on the changeup, but he has not been afraid to stick with that pitch. A broken bat pop up. Moncada can't get it, and Bryant has a bloop single. So they were shifting toward the left on the infield, and it worked out for Chris.
Yeah, you'll get a good look here how far Moncada had to travel. That ball wasn't in the air all that long. From KB's point of view, just long enough.
The That'll give Jason Hayward a chance. He's playing center tonight. Position he's fairly comfortable playing, even though he's won all these awards as a right fielder. He grew up as a center fielder. It's only his 76th major league start at that position. So the one thing about right, in terms of his positioning, because of the line, he feels like anything in that direction he can catch based on where he's positioned. But he said center field because you have a lot of extra space depending on how you are shifting. So there are just certain balls that I know I'm not going to be able to catch. I guess it's kind of like a booth like this. You sometimes have a wall right next to your spot. Here you don't. You feel a little out of sorts.
You don't have that barrier
one
there.
Border there to make sure
kind
you
of
don't
define your role, to
Yeah.
define your place in the world. Yeah.
Instead, you've got David Cello over there.
The king of the barbecue. Man, he did it up right today.
Nice work. We'll have to get a new bat.
Off the end of the bat with way out in front of that changeup.
The other thing Jason talked about, and you heard some of his comments to Kelly Kroll about this playoff race. I think there's an outside assumption that guys are feeling a lot of pressure, and he said it's the opposite. He said this is the fun part.
Well, I think that's the way to approach it, to embrace it, to be in the middle of this pennant race in September. And players talk about it all the time at the start of the season. They just want to be playing meaningful games in September. Now, if you're the Cubs, given their recent past and the level of expectation, you want more. But I think everybody realizes how difficult it is to win.
Sanchez can't get it. Anderson does, and the throw is in time for the out. Boy, that was a strange play. Sanchez basically screened Tim Anderson, but he was able to stick with it and make the play. And it actually was slightly deflected by Sanchez as well. 2-2 in the fourth. Cubs into your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1. And a special welcome to all our viewers Watching and streaming the Cubs on WOW in the Chicagoland area. That was a WOW reflection of the moon.
Kind of looked like the bat signal.
If Jim Lovell were here tonight, he'd say, I've been there.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
One and one on Castillo. We had a shot of John Lester walking off the mound after the third inning. He had said something to Darryl Boston, the White Sox first base coach. A little game inside the game. It looked like he might have been a little aggravated by Anderson admiring his home run. He's got his game face on. And Castillo lifts a foul out of play.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, we talk all the time about the ethics of the game and what is accepted and not accepted in terms of bat flips and admiring home runs, and everybody comes at it from their own point of view. But pitchers still get annoyed when most pitchers still get annoyed when guys admire their home runs.
And again, we're assuming that's
we don't know
what he was
sure.
upset about. I can't imagine there was anything else that occurred, but pretty standard fare. So now the question is, if that's what it was, did Darryl Boston deliver the message? Two, and he's whipped into center for a base hit. I mean, I don't know the standard protocol. You would, if you tell a first base coach to deliver a message, you assume he does?
I think you're just venting a little bit. And again, I'm not sure if that's exactly what John was talking to Darryl about.
There's Smith singled in the second. Is it fair to say that if we had old video of all your starts, that there would be a couple things you would have done where you'd be like, I have no recollection of doing that? And yelling at somebody? Or
yeah, probably, yeah. You get caught up in the heat of the moment.
Kick and the 1-0 is popped. Foul territory. Rizzo does not have room.
Oh, Ted Simmons bat flipped on me one time, and I was offended. I was like, wow, because I was a big Ted Simmons fan as a kid. I go, what did I do to deserve that?
Two tie in the fourth inning. Pirates have a 2-0 lead over Milwaukee.
Double play waiting to happen here. Hit it. Smith, who homered last night, and singled already here today, but he has hit the ball on the ground over 60% of the time. Ball in play off the bat is on the ground from Smith. So, real good shot at the double play here. Not up there. That's more trying to get a punch out with the elevated heater.
Charlie Marte with a 2-run double in the third inning, giving the Pirates the lead. They now move to the fifth. Outside, it's 2-2.
You know, it may be that maybe just the White Sox dugout was razzing John a little bit. You know, maybe when he was questioning some of those calls by the home plate umpire.
Tough take. Borderline high. 3-2.
Yeah, this has been pretty impressive, and Doug talked about it earlier. This White Sox team that is not known for their patience, really working some deep counts here tonight. They haven't walked yet, but we're seeing a lot of pitches. It's a good night to work. It's cool. Legs should stay strong. Working with extra rest. All those things contribute to give John an opportunity to pitch deep into this ball game. But again, some of these long at-bats are working against him.
Grounded foul. So he'll get one more start on Thursday against the Pirates. And then that will set him up to pitch a potential Game 1 of the playoffs. Got to get there first.
I thought you were going to say wild card game. No. Well, but I would. You'd be in position to start that game too if needed.
Yeah. Paul Hamels will pitch on Monday to start the homestand. Called strike 3. Smith thought he had just taken ball 4.
I thought he did too. A borderline pitch. It was a good battle. Back and forth they went. Lester made his pitch. When you watch a John Lester start, you keep your eye on that pitch cast. You're not going to see too many in the middle. He's always going to be working and shooting for the edges. And he made his pitch with Contreras sitting on that outside corner, and he got rewarded for it. Beautiful pitch.
So 1 out, and it's Moncada. Cutter for a strike. Hey, we want to send out get well wishes to our good friend Mark Grady, who was involved in a bad auto accident today, but hope you're feeling better, Big Daddy.
MB.
His car didn't make it.
No.
Thankfully he did.
Yeah. It's scary. See a picture of his car because it was really banged up.
2 balls and a strike. Cubs made a little alteration to their rotation. They'll have Hamels on Monday. Montgomery will go Tuesday against the Pirates. Kyle Hendricks will pitch tomorrow afternoon.
Remember Jose Cruz Jr.?
Yeah, switch hitter.
Yeah. This kid looks a lot like Cheito.
Inside, and it's full. Horizon projected starters. Hendricks for the Cubs. Carlos Rodon has been good, coming back from shoulder surgery. He's out on strikes. Similar pitch.
On Tuesday, Cubs Pirates first pitch 7:05, and up to the first 10,000 early arriving adults 21 and over receive a Cubs drawstring hat presented by Rum Chata. Tickets still available at Cubs.com. So again, check out our pitch cast. Everything on the edges.
.208 strikeout. Moncada the most in the majors. One strike on Ryan Lamar. The 0-2 from Lester is a curve off the outside. Castillo started the inning with a base hit to center. And some deep counts since. Lester striking out Smith and Moncada, and an infield pop off the bat of Lamar. Rizzo's got it, and that's it. 4 innings in the books. Cubs and White Sox tied at 2. Action is powered by Xfinity. Back in May, the White Sox could not get out Wilson Contreras. With a 7 for 13, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 10 RBIs in that series.
Yeah, we like that Wilson. Well, we like this Wilson too, but that one, we need to see that guy back.
So a third of his home runs have come against the White Sox.
It's in there. It's been hiding for a long time.
Big cut, came up empty.
181 batting average in his last 38 ball games heading into tonight.
Big right-hander on an 0-1. Check swing grounder. Giolito's got to cover the bag. The throw there is in time. No! He was off the base.
And Giolito arguing that his back heel still had contact with the bag, and no need to argue. If you want to challenge.
So he's telling the White Sox dugout that his foot was on the bag, and he's right. Got a big foot.
Yeah, he went back for it, and that's probably what influenced Doug Eddings. But it looked like he got him initially.
Ricky Renteria will challenge it.
Most people, if they were umpiring first base and they saw the pitcher go back the way Giolito did, you would assume safe. See it one more time here. Heel on the bag, ball in the glove.
I have been asked periodically why 2 umpires, the crew chief and another umpire, that typically the umpire who made the call. So the White Sox retain their challenge. Contreras is out. Why 2 umpires go over to the headsets to talk to New York? I haven't gotten an official answer, but I just assume you want to make sure you hear the answer correctly, and you want to have 2 people there to kind of witness it and get it right.
Yeah. So somebody has to notarize it.
You would not want a miscommunication on an out or safe call. could affect the game and the pennant race and all of that. There's a base hit for Schwarber. His first hit of the series.
Yeah, and first action in a while last night, coming back with that back issue. This is to be a two-seam fastball, outer third.
That brings up David Bodie, a strikeout victim in the third. Strike one.
And not that Schwarber would be the candidate. The Cubs just haven't had many opportunities, but Giolito's been very easy to run on. 25 steals, only 4 caught with the big righty on the mound this year. And Smith has only thrown out 15%.
Giolito comes from an acting family. His dad Rick, his mom Lindsay, Hollywood actors. He went to Harvard Westlake High School in Southern California. And 2 first-round picks from that school in the 2012 draft. Popped up, and it's into center for a base hit. That's the second such hit for the Cubs. Bryant had one earlier. And the Cubs have 2 on for Daniel Murphy.
Solid single Schwarber, shooting the ball the other way, and then a little flare here by Bodie. Cubs got a little something cooking here. Murphy's had good swings tonight, nothing to show for it so far.
Pitch to Murphy. Hit to left.
Wow.
And misjudged by Lamar. He came way in and couldn't make the play. Schwarber will score. Bodie holds at third. It's a double for Murphy. Cubs lead 3-2.
Wow, I'm not sure what Lamar was thinking out there. That fairly routine. He came sprinting in like it was a dunker in front of him, and by the time he realized it wasn't, too late. Daniel Murphy has twice led the league in doubles, and this is a gift 2-base hit here, completely butchered by Lamar out in left.
So it will be an RBI double. And the batter is Ben Zobrist, second and third, a run in, and still only 1 out. Ball 1.
Giolito's had good command of that changeup tonight, and we're seeing a nice adjustment being made by the Cub hitters, letting the ball travel, willing to shoot it the other way. Schwarber did, Murphy did. So this perhaps with the same approach, we'll see. He's out in front of the off-speed pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike. Potentially a game-turning misjudged fly ball.
Ground ball to the middle, gets 1 home. About as good as it gets in these situations, just in terms of giving you a tough AB. Very hard to finish off. Pitcher would love to get a punch out here, but you got to work awfully hard against Zobrist to strike him out in this situation.
A 1-2 pitch grounded toward the middle. Here comes Bodie. Murphy's going to be sent. The throw won't get there. Cubs lead 5-2.
Well, they make the mistake in the outfield. Cubs hitters with great approaches here in this inning. Couple of knocks the other way. Zobrist gets on top of this curveball, goes right through the middle of the diamond. In his mind, he's thinking, a ground ball gets a run home. If it gets through, then I pick up 2. Little bonus run.
Four consecutive one-out hits. This is what the White Sox did a few times in the ball game yesterday. The crowd will tell you who's at the plate. First pitch to Javi is low and outside. Two in the first on his home run. They've added 3 here in the 5th to take their second lead of the night.
I think the Cubs are going to do any running right now with a 2-0 count on Javi Baez.
Top of the zone, and Giolito gets the call. 2-1.
Catcher rise up like that, rarely are you going to get that call. Now 2-1. They might think about starting Zobrist.
And not running. The pitch is a strike. Well, Javi has a couple of words for Mark Ripperger.
Try it again. He clanked the best pitch of the bunch. I don't know that he would have gotten it. Ripperger has been a little more generous up than down. This pitch is at the knees, right over the heart of the plate.
Has an average lead at first, held by Davidson. He is not running, and Baez hits a high foul off to the right.
Interesting, boy. This is one fastball after another in this sequence.
Another 3-2 and another foul. That's a good emergency swing. That pitch could have been called a strike.
Yeah, the slider that was over the outside corner, and the one, you know, off the plate down is the chase pitch. On the plate, he can reach it. They're going to go back with the two-seam fastball here.
Pop fly, shallow right. Garcia jogging in will make the grab.
You were mentioning Giolito's parents being actors. His grandfather as well. His grandfather played Susan's dad on Seinfeld. Remember that character, Susan Ross? Yeah. He had that nice cabin out in the woods that Kramer burnt down with the cigar.
That was Lucas' grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Warren Frost, I believe.
So his mom's dad.
Yeah.
Mom is Lindsay.
Yeah.
Frost. Zobrist at first. A 3-run fifth so far for the Cubs. Great read by Ben. And he'll make it to second without a throw on a wild pitch.
Breaking ball and no hesitation at all from Zobrist. And as it turns out, it didn't matter because the ball kicked pretty far away from Smith. And even had it not, he would have probably made it easily. Rizzo will take the free pass.
So they choose to face Bryant. 1 for 2 with a bloop single. Back out of play for strike one.
Pirates still lead the Brewers 2-0. They're through 5. Trevor Williams just a touch above 3. He's having a heck of a year.
Assuming the Pirates stay true to form in their rotation, we would have a Williams-Lester matchup on Thursday night at Wrigley Field. Bryant requests time.
This drive is eating up a lot of clock.
1-2. Zobrist with a little hesitation, but he's going to make it as Smith double clutched.
Yeah, a little stutter step, and then he made the full-on commitment.
First and third. 2-2 count on Bryant.
And in a perfect world, you know, Anthony goes with Zobrist there. The trail runner takes his cues from the lead runner. And that's the real value, to get that back guy in a scoring position with 2 outs. It's not always the easiest read, because the lead guy is reading the ball in the dirt and you're reading him. So there's always a little bit of a hesitation. And if he hesitates at all, the lead guy, as Zoe did, it's tough to commit. We've seen that happen where that back runner goes, the lead guy slams on the brakes, the back guy's hung out to dry.
Got the bat of Bryant, so it's a foul. His college teammate Dylan Covey in the White Sox rotation. He'll pitch Monday night against Corey Kluber. Covey 5-13 with a .533 this season. Still 2-2. Here's the pitch. Called strike 3. But the Cubs sent 8 to the plate and scored 3 times. Now lead 5-2 in the 5th.
John Lester back out there to work the bottom half of the 5th. He works with a 5-2 lead. Adam Engel is 0 for 1 with a strikeout tonight.
The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. John had a 2-0 lead early, now 5-2 lead in the 5th.
White Sox have made him work. He's thrown 85 pitches here. He's not had a clean 1-2-3 inning yet.
Off the end of the bat and a base hit. Glanville with us tonight. Let's talk John Lester adjustments.
Yeah, when you notice, we mentioned early on about how his curveball was bouncing. He was pounding a lot of hitters in, but wasn't really commanding the outer third. And then he started making adjustments with a backdoor cutter, where he started to clip that outer third and was able to record a couple of strikeouts looking off of it. So he's been able to expand laterally. And you watch these pitches here, that backdoor cutter to spin, being able to peel that edge right there on Smith and then Moncada back there. So that's what a lot of great ace caliber pitchers make these kinds of adjustments. It's sort of a mid-game recognition that, wait a minute, okay, this pitch isn't working for it. Now let me try to find something else. Remember facing Randy Johnson, Hall of Famer, many times, and there was times he broke out a splitter and a curveball off of those amazing fastball slider combination when we were particularly hitting him well. So this is Lester, what he's doing.
There's that pitch on the outside. Fastball that time. 1-1 on Anderson, who has struck out and hit his 20th home run.
I find it amazing. I mean, Lester has 89 pitches. I don't believe he's recorded a walk. So there's been an absolute ton of foul balls and a lot of deep counts. So he's battling himself here. He's battling through it, but keeping the Cubs in the ballgame. And this is what they absolutely need when you talk about a stopper. Maybe not having his sharpest stuff, a lot of inefficiency in his pitches, but still keeping this game alive for the Cubs' opportunity to score some runs later.
Double play chance. Baez the flip. Murphy, and the throw gets by Rizzo. Murphy ended up on top of Engel at second.
This is tough for a base runner because the slide rule, you have to be careful on how you're going in. Baez got a little tangled up, so he's going in straight into the base, but he has to be careful not to turn it into some sort of obstruction call. So he slides in, goes past the base, and that's become much more of a question mark with the slide rule. Of course, Murphy just trying to turn as quickly as possible. When you get those late throws on a middle infield, the guy's coming. But with the rules in place, less likely he's going to really barrel you over now, but he can go in hard.
So fielder's choice for Anderson, and now Yolmer Sanchez. Fastball strike.
Yeah, we saw Engel taking even for a speedy guy like Engel, does not have a big lead against John. We'll see what Anderson does here.
I think that's in response to Contreras being behind the plate.
No doubt. Yeah.
They're concerned about getting into the second, because he does that all the time.
Yeah, he back picks at first more than any catcher in the game.
I mean, almost like he's like loosening up his arm every day. Like, yeah, let me throw to first. So, the danger with Lester is you could, get that big lead, but if you're going to do that, then you need to steal the base, because you're going to take a very conservative secondary because you're worried about Contreras backdooring you. And so the White Sox made a decision to be a little bit more conservative.
Drifting and catching is Zobrist. Make sure you follow our Cubs insiders on NBCSportsChicago.com. Presented by Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Go to jeffvuk.com or follow him on social media. Nationwide is on your side. Garcia 1 for 2. See some guys stretching in the Cubs bullpen. Nobody throwing. Don't have to worry about Lester's spot in the batting order. He's not in the batting order here in an American League Park. They're going to not get him, but Anderson is.
I thought he was going because he did take the big lead and he took an aggressive secondary. And maybe the Lester's just so quick to the plate, it shut him down and he had to scramble back.
The thing is with Lester, I mean, as a base runner, you can telegraph it. You're going to take that lead with and the speed, even if he is 1-1 or very quick to the plate, you can still make it easy if you have a 23-foot lead.
Swing and a miss, 1-1. But invariably, that runner, when the pitch is delivered, his first move is back toward the bag, or he's flat-footed.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the reflex of what you're used to as a lefty, with a lefty on the mound as a base runner. You're like, oh, let me read him. Because with lefties, you have to recognize the pattern. They're looking right at you, so you always try to figure out some tip or some read on him. And so you might have that split-second hesitation. And that's what puts Anderson, a lot of these runners, flat-footed against him.
Longer look at the runner this time. 2-1 pitch out in the left center. Anderson on his way to third. He will be held there. And that'll bring the tying run to the plate in Matt Davidson.
And I think that would probably get somebody going in the Cubs bullpen.
Davidson 0 for 2. Two for 6 in the series. Good block by Contreras. Cubs trying to shave at least one off their magic number of 8. They lead this one 5-2. The Brewers are trailing at Pittsburgh 2-0. Bottom of the 6th in that game.
Yeah. 2 bad misses, one down, one way up. That's got everybody's attention.
Well, you know, he's hit the 100 pitch mark, and like you mentioned, once the location starts to fail him, his curveball been bouncing a lot. Now he's kind of getting back to fastball cutter. And you have a dangerous hitter with Davidson in terms of the power game, so one swing of the bat could change everything, so they're going to have to be very careful here.
Two on, 2 out. 2-0 count on Davidson. And a base hit. Anderson will score, and it's 5-3. Back-to-back 2-out singles, and the White Sox are within a couple.
Looks like Carl Edwards, yeah, CJ up there throwing in the bullpen. He's probably just made 4 or 5 tosses. So Jim Hickey's going to come on out, buy Edwards a little time. And both clubs benefiting from some weak contact tonight. Not saying that wasn't a legit hit, but not exactly tearing the cover off the ball.
And with the Cubs bullpen now without Brandon Morrow the rest of the way, Pedro Strop for now, you'd really like to see Lester get through this 5th inning, right?
Well, I think that's why nobody was up earlier. I think Joe had it in his mind he's going to get at least 5 out of him here tonight. He's hoping for more, but
John Lester will not be happy if he comes out in the 5th inning. I mean, yes, it's a time of specialization in bullpens and relievers and situational, but he's a guy from an era who came up in a system where he's expecting to go deep, and certainly that 5 mark is really important.
Yeah, that's bare minimum for a guy like John.
Yeah, he's going to try to grind it out here for sure.
Facing Wellington Castillo. He only has 4 hits in the first 2 games. Back past Lester, charged by Baez. A little backhand play, and he gets him. So John does get through the requisite 5, qualify for a win. White Sox get a run, lead 2. It's 5-3 after 5. Fan cam. Cubs Sox weekend here in late September. Giolito to Hayward to start the 6th. Curved him. It's a strike. I think John Lester's done for the ball game. 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 earned. It will be up to a bullpen that leads the National League. An earned run average to navigate the final 4 innings. Two strikes on Hayward. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. And a changeup for strike 3.
Hey, Cub fans, Advocate Healthcare has all your bases covered with over 400 locations and 6,300 top doctors. Book your same-day appointment at advocatehealth.com.
One out, nobody on. Pitch to Contreras, misses low and outside. Changeup was up, but it was the lack of speed that got the swing and miss.
That's impressive, though, to be able to throw the changeup up there and get away with it. Gives you an idea of how effective it is, how he really sells it. A hitter who's kind of jumping at the ball. You know, a few days ago in Arizona and right before we left town, prior to the Arizona trip, he drove a couple balls to center field that looked like he was starting to kind of figure some things out.
Bounced foul. Kelly Kroll chimes in. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, guys. Yeah, I had a chance to catch up with Wilson Contreras this morning and ask him about having a couple days off, which he said felt like having a month off after the stretch they'd been on, but mentioned in Arizona really barreling up a couple balls. Said he's really gotten his swing back to the down to up motion instead of the up to down. He was coming around on too many balls, he said, and he just sort of clicked for him in the cage right before Arizona, and you were mentioning it. He looked really good out there, and he thinks he's really found something here, so we'll see if he can keep it going.
Thank you, Kelly. That's his foul on a 3-2. We'll try it again.
Well, the thing is, the beauty of being in the Cubs position, or any team that's in a pennant race, you get to this point in the season, regardless of what has happened up to this point. Whether you've had a good year, a bad year, had to deal with some injuries, you're in the thick of it, and all that really matters is what happens from this point forward. If you get into the tournament and get hot, at the end of the day, it could be a great year.
Ground ball to Anderson. And he fires across for out number 2. News out of Pittsburgh. Right-hander Joe Musgrove be shut down. He has right side abdominal discomfort. He is scheduled to pitch tomorrow. It'll be right-hander Nick Kingham instead to face Milwaukee. On Schwarber.
Got the rally started last inning, a 1-out single the other way.
Big hack at that changeup. Giolito turns and throws, and it's low. And the count is 2-1. Cool night, 61 as we got started. Probably in the upper 50s currently. Not nearly as windy as it was yesterday.
Aggressive will he be? 3-1.
Schwarber walks. Second one issued by Giolito. First one was intentional. David Bodie.
Sox are going to get somebody going in their bullpen. Yeah, he's kind of losing his delivery here. He's all over the place all of a sudden.
The catcher and the entire White Sox infield will head to the mound. Caleb Frere, a left-hander. Guessing it'll be Carl Edwards Jr. for the Cubs in the sixth. Just kind of hanging out, watching the action.
Yeah, and there's an art to it for a relief pitcher, throwing just enough to be ready down there without overly exerting yourself over the course of the long season. There's so many ups and downs. Not just the games you get into, but all the times you're up but don't get into the ball game. That's a real challenge. Try to save some bullets out there.
Hit hard, but right to Moncada. And the Cubs done in the sixth. It's Chicago 5, Chicago 3.
you want for next season. Here's your first chance to secure those seats to your must-have games for the 2019 season. Visit Cubs.com/deposits for all the details.
Here's Carl Edwards Jr. in relief of John Lester. Cubs lead 5-3, bottom of the 6th inning. Kevin Smith, the catcher, 1 for 2. Curve right in the middle.
Yeah, last time out he threw a lot of curveballs. That was against Cincinnati. So it's been a few days for Carl. Good hook.
Good foul. I have a question for you. Can you name the oldest living Hall of Famer?
Bobby Doerr.
No.
Bobby Doerr is a Hall of Famer.
Baez goes to Rizzo in time.
Whitey Ford.
Nope. I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Today celebrating his 91st birthday.
September 22nd. Today's his birthday.
Short major league career as a player. Long career as a manager.
Wow.
Moncada. He was a pitcher.
Pitcher, manager, Hall of Famer. Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda. Happy 91st birthday.
Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
2-1.
I like this commitment from Edwards to throw his curveball. Obviously, trying to make an adjustment, and I think what happens sometimes with Carl is, you know, if he gets into a rut where he has a hard time getting the fastball down, and then he doesn't have confidence in the curveball and doesn't want to throw the fastball over, and it just becomes this vicious cycle. And command of the curveball will open up some avenues for him where he doesn't have to be quite as precise with his fastball. It also may help the mechanics to be able to get the ball down. You know, the effort you have to make to get the curveball down should help him get the fastball down in the zone a little bit.
That is the first walk issued by a Cubs pitcher in this series. Ryan Lamar due. It will be Daniel Palka instead. Set a White Sox record with his 4th pinch hit home run in the game yesterday. Swing and a miss. Let's see. First, did they walk one yesterday? One. Yeah, one walk yesterday. That was wrong. Ryan Dunsing walked Mike Davidson. 2nd walk of the series. Moncada has 11 stolen bases. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Jesse Chavez up. Fouled away. Palka has hit 8 homers in his last 14 games.
Kid is really put together. He's at 27 this year. Leads their club. There are his pinch hitting numbers, most impressive. It's really tough on left-handed hitters, though, with that fastball moving in on their knuckles.
Fastball backed him off. And on 1 out, 2-run ball game in the 6th. Critical games for the Cubs here on out.
Yeah, every day it's the most important game of the year until tomorrow.
Hayward shaded toward left center. Zobrist deep and right. 2-2 pitch inside. 0-2 to 3-2.
Malka doing a nice job not offering at that pitch, because again, with that late movement, there's not a whole lot you can do with it.
Okada takes off, swing and a miss on the curveball for strike 3. 3-2 anxiety. And he was out in front and over the top with a hook.
Yeah, I don't imagine the last thing he expected to see was the breaking pitch on 3-2 from Edwards.
The stolen base for Moncada, his 12th. And the batter is Engel. It is a sellout tonight. It is the first sellout of the year for the White Sox. 39,724. One and one to Engel. Tigers beat the Royals tonight 5-4 in what ended up being Victor Martinez's final major league game. Having a very nice big league career. Swing and a miss. 1-2. He picked up an infield single, his 2,153rd career hit. Before coming out of the game and calling it a career.
He's got a little vacation time saved up.
Yeah.
Last week off.
Foul pop. Out of play.
You mentioned it earlier, but there's repeating. The Braves have clinched the East. Nobody foresaw back in the spring.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 on the curveball. Good inning for Edwards. He did walk Moncada, but then struck out Palka and Engel. Still 5-3. This ball was hit hard by Daniel Murphy, much harder than Brian Lamar thought, and it turned into a go-ahead RBI double. The Cubs would score 3 times in the 5th inning, and they lead the game 5-3. Batting here in the 7th. Polka pinch hit for Lamar will stay in and play left. Giolito back out against Murphy here in the 7th. One ball, one strike. Now 2-1.
Couple up in the Sox pen, one righty, one lefty. It'll be a case where Ricky Renteria is just going to go one batter at a time here with Giolito.
Backhanded play, Moncada for the out.
Tomorrow, excuse me, don't miss the football after show. Join former Bears Matt Forte, Lance Briggs, and Alex Brown with host Lawrence Holmes after the Bears battle the Cardinals. The football after show presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, only on NBC Sports Chicago. That means today's Saturday. If the football after show is tomorrow, that's how we figure out the calendar in our world.
Yeah. Ball one to Zobrist. Knocked in 2 big runs in the 5th. It's 2 for 3. Batting average has moved up 3 points.
Yeah, had Lamar made the play on Murphy's fly ball, it would have been 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. Nobody in. Murphy drove in 1, and Zobrist grounded the curveball right through the middle to play 2 more.
A drive to left. Polka camped.
Come out and show your school pride. Specially priced tickets to see the Cubs play the Pirates on the 26th. That would be Wednesday. Fans who buy tickets through the Community Nights page will receive a special Cubs hat in DePaul University colors. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com/communitynights.
The Nationals beat the Mets today 6-0, but they are eliminated from postseason contention. A wave and a curve for strike 1.
I think that's the pitch Javi was expecting to get the entire at bat last time, and Giolito kept throwing him fastballs. This time he was looking to sell out on a heater, and he threw him a good hook.
Meanwhile, the Yankees have clinched a wild card spot. Aaron Hicks with a game-ending double to beat the Orioles in 11 innings. Hefty home run time, 1st inning. A line shot rocket to left to make it 2-0. Number 34 for Baez. 2-2. Sinker sank too much for Giolito. 3-2. Tweaked something. Left hip. Ball 4. Will be it for Giolito. So Caleb Frere will come in and face Anthony Rizzo.
That Wrigley Field has to offer, like an all-inclusive suite experience. There's still suite availability for next weekend's matchup with the Cardinals. To reserve a suite, visit Cubs.com/premier.
It is a BioFreeze called to the pen. Official external pain relief on the Chicago Cubs. Left-hander Caleb Frere facing Anthony Rizzo. 2 outs, a man on. 9th major league appearance for Frere, a Miles City, Montana native.
Don't see too many Montanans in the big leagues. Red Sox got him from the Yankees. He spent most of the year at AA. Those are great numbers. AA for the Yankees had an 0.62 ERA in 31 innings. The White Sox at AAA in 0.71, striking out 19 in 12 innings. Fastballs and sliders, leader in the mid-90s.
Cubs lead this game 5-3. 3-run 5th inning. Sometimes people ask, what are those dirt circles near home plate? Not the on deck circle. Those are the fungo circles next to the cages. Don't wear out the grass. And they hit ground balls. Choke up by Anthony, and the pitch is outside.
Could you imagine if they were the on deck circles?
That'd be really
That
close,
would be
wouldn't it?
Harrowing experience. Get a close look at the pitcher's stuff.
The other theory, maybe UFO landed and
Crop circles.
Baez runs, Rizzo fouls. Thought for a while there Baez might be a 30-30 candidate. Now with 21 stolen bases. Probably not going to get 9 here in the last week plus. Shot to deep right and caught. Garcia runs down the liner on the warning track and will stretch here on the south side. It's the Cubs 5 and the White Sox 3. This Crosstown Cup, Cubs have won 5 of 7, and in their last 10 have won 7 and lost just 3, outscoring the White Sox by a wide margin. Season series here in 2018 tied at 2 apiece. And Jesse Chavez will take over here in the bottom of the 7th, top of the order for the White Sox.
He has been very dependable. Joining the Cubs, he's having a very nice year. 57 appearances and a 2.77 ERA.
Anderson has homered and scored twice and takes just off the outside edge. This game belongs to John Lester in terms of the pitcher of record. It will be his 17th win if the bullpen can hold him.
This has had a little break of late in terms of his usage. He hasn't been out there since September 15th. As you see the defensive alignment now, Zobrist moves to left, Almora is in center, Hayward slides over to right, JB into play third.
And David Bodie now at second. Murphy is out, swing and a miss. 1-2.
John Lester tonight, 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. Walking man struck out 4. Cubs do not give up the lead. He will pick up his 17th W against 6 losses.
And that's a leadoff walk.
Rare from Jesse. Boy, he's been really aggressive. Hasn't walked many.
Sanchez the batter. 2-run ball game. Bottom 7. Still a 2-run game in Pittsburgh. Pirates batting in the 8th. Leading 2-0 over Milwaukee. Trevor Williams went 6 scoreless frames, 4 hits, a walk, struck out 7. Pitch popped up left side of the infield. It's Bryant. 1 away. And it'll bring up Javi Garcia. Jorge De La Rosa getting loose. Things work out the way the Cubs hope they do, after tomorrow they won't have to play a road game for about 2 weeks. They'll spend the final week of the regular season at home. And if they can win this Central Division and have the top record in the National League, they would host the first 2 games of the division series. And 1 to Garcia. Here's the pitch. It's in there for a strike on a fastball.
That walk to Anderson, just the 5th walk issued by Chavez since joining the Cubs. He's pitched 32 innings. 144 ERA as a Cub for the veteran right-hander.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Garcia had been 5 for 8. 2 doubles and a homer against Chavez before that strikeout.
Seen a lot of that. Elevated fastballs. It's a hard time laying off.
Matt Davidson knocked in a run with a 5th inning single.
Rockies won their game last night. The Dodgers got beat by the Padres, so game-and-a-half spread between the Dodgers and Rockies entering play tonight. Just 1 in the loss column.
And the Rockies lead at Arizona 4-0 as they move to the 5th. The Dodgers have an early 1-0 lead in the 3rd against the Pods in LA. Good location. Right on the edge, 1-2. So Milwaukee and St. Louis hold the top 2 spots in the wild card race. And really the only challenger is the Rockies. Swing and a miss. Nice work by Jesse Chavez after the leadoff walk. He sets them down 1-2-3. 5-3 Cubs after 7.
Bike check located by the Addison Red Line station. Pace Express buses are also available from Hillside and Rolling Meadows. Check out available transportation and parking options at cubs.com/transportation.
Right-hander Ian Hamilton in the 8th.
So the rookie Frere, now another newbie, Hamilton, pitching for the 8th time. The Hamilton Burr combo out there in the bullpen. Hamilton, 23 years of age. Red Sox took him in the 11th round, 2016. Split the year between AA and AAA. Sub-2 ERAs at both spots.
11th round pick out of Washington State 2 years ago. Facing Bryant, Hayward, and Contreras. '97 and a strike. Pirates have added to their lead late, 3-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Foul tip, strike 2. And it's high. Looking for fastballs here early. And Hamilton. White Sox out hitting the Cubs 8-7. The Cubs lead where it counts the most. Strike 3 called. Here's Hayward for the 4th time.
Cubs have made the only error in the ball game, the throwing error charged to Baez, but the misplay by Lamar not an error, technically. The biggest play in this ball game.
Barehanded pick by Hamilton. He had Sanchez right there behind him. The pitcher made the play.
I want you to say awesome, Hamilton, in your best Jeff Spicoli voice.
Here's Contreras. Billy is 0 for 3. Everything on the ground tonight.
A little funk in his delivery, turns his back to the hitter, does a little tap and go with the ball in the glove.
So the high school from Pastimes at Ridgemont High. Cameron Crowe did, I guess, all the research for that movie. That's where Bob Guerin went to high school.
Oh, yeah?
Southern California, obviously. You think of Spicoli, you wouldn't think of a high school in Delaware, would you? 1-2.
Nasty slider.
Two outs, nobody on, 8th inning. Cubs trying to tack on to their 2-run advantage.
Great example. We talk a lot about it, how a good breaking ball will buy you a little room with your fastball. That nasty slider, you have to respect that. You got to wait, try to stay back a little bit, try to recognize slider, and then that 97 looks very hittable, right there in the middle of the strike zone. And you have to respect the slider, and the guy throws this hard. It's sometimes tough to get to that heater.
Two pitch. Castillo was, or Smith rather, was walking back to the dugout.
Yeah, it looked like Wilson was starting to walk out of the batter's box as well, but the pitch was off the plate. It was inside. Willie, he's going. Smith's going.
Hard on the ground, picked by Sanchez. Cubs 5, Sox 3. Learn it, know it, live it.
Welcome back. Follow the race for the postseason on MLB.tv for $25.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game. Plus, get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this limited time offer.
Chavez back out for the 8th after a scoreless 7th. Ball 1 on the DH Castillo. One is way outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Kevin Smith and then Yohan Moncada. Polka lurking to 4th here in the 8th. With that in mind, Justin Wilson is up in the Cubs bullpen.
Plenty of options on the bench for Ricky Renteria should he choose to pinch hit. The lefty's a switch hitter and 3 right-handed batters. Although Abreu is listed on the card, but I don't think he's good to go. There's not a lot of guesswork for hitters against Jesse Chavez. I mean, everything's coming at you pretty hard. Fastball, he'll sink, he'll cut it. He wants to throw a 4-seamer. He has a slider, he has a changeup. Doesn't use them much though. Fastballs and cutters mostly. Why mess with a good thing? It's worked.
The 3-2 is hit in the air out into shallow right. And David Bodie keeping his feet moving.
Dodgers have extended their lead over the Padres 6-0 now, bottom of the 3rd at Dodger Stadium. Red Sox Indians 4-4, bottom of the 8th in Cleveland. Playoff preview. Last chance for the Brewers, top of the 9th, trailing the Buccos 3-zip.
Ground ball to Baez. 2 away. Joe's going to come and get him. Excellent work by Chavez. After Edwards pitched a scoreless 6th, Chavez an inning and 2/3 following John Lester's start. Here comes Wilson when we return. Bio Freeze called to the pen. It is left-hander Justin Wilson. Base Moncada. Palka on deck. This is Moncada's weaker side. Five-3 Cubs, 8th inning. 2 outs and now 2 strikes on the hitter.
Wilson worked on Monday in Phoenix, a third of an inning. He threw 1 pitch, and that's the ball game where Paul Goldschmidt tried to steal at the end of the game when they threw him out.
Yeah, so he didn't have to retire a hitter.
Yeah. 5-1 Cubs lead. And Rizzo was playing behind Goldschmidt. He thought they were conceding second base. Wilson with a little quick pitch, and Contreras steamed to throw down to second to get him.
He went around. And that'll do it for the White Sox in the 8th inning. Great work from this bullpen. Cubs 5, White Sox 3.
The Bears-Cardinals game. Don't miss touchdowns and takeaways presented by Incan Law. Monday at 5:30 on NBC Sports Chicago.
This is Rob Scahill working for the White Sox in the 9th inning. He's a local guy. Went to Willowbrook High School in Villa Park and then on to Bradley University in Peoria. Rocky, Pirate, and Brewer.
Yeah, down to AAA this year, Charlotte, 3-4 with a 5.64 ERA.
Facing Kyle Schwarber, the DH, and he hits one fair past a diving Davidson. Fan picked it up, fan interference. It's a double. Fan tried to pick it up.
Held high and he spins on it. Second hit of the night for Kyle. So single, double, and a walk. This ball got wedged underneath the padding down there. Score out there to run for Schwarbs.
This could end up being a very good night for the Cubs. They've got this late lead. Milwaukee down to its final chance. In fact, they have now lost that game 3-0. Magic number at 7. Bunted foul by David Bodie. The pitch squirts past Smith. That'll get Gore to third.
Well, that's all about the presence of Terrence Gore on the bases. He gets everybody's attention, and I think Smith was peeking at him and failed to catch that ball. Pass ball pitched right there. He just whiffed on it. He was willing to give himself up to move Gore along. Now he won't have to.
Gore will hold. Janmar Gomez, veteran right-hander. Pass ball on Smith. Infield in. 2-1 on David Bodie. Kick and a pitch, swing and a miss. 2-2.
A little anxious with that man on third base. Shorten up. Make a little contact. The infield drawn in. A little flare would get the job done. And fly ball of any depth at all with Gore speed should be good enough.
There's a Pittsburgh win. And Bodie swings and misses for the first out. Bring up Albert Almora for the first time tonight. So the lead is 2. Could be 2.5. Cardinals won earlier today. 4 out.
Time of the year where fans rise and fall with every game. From high anxiety to feeling pretty good about things one night on the schedule. Very often the straight pickoff throw to third. Just trying to tighten him up a little bit. He'll be going on contact, and anything on the ground, or will come streaking home.
Hendricks for the Cubs tomorrow. Carlos Rodon for the White Sox. Another throw to third. The left-hander firing to first. They ask, why doesn't this happen more often? Well, one reason is if you overthrow at third, that's a run.
Yeah,
you got to be perfect.
You normally concern yourself too much with holding the runner at third base.
Here comes Gore. Flip to the plate. Safe. It was close, but Terrence Gore,
oh man, is he fast?
Is so fast. He got in. 6-3.
He is lightning fast.
Ricky Renteria is going to ask the video room, but he might as well challenge it. He has nothing to lose here in the ninth.
And they're going to say, well, I don't know, Skip, we couldn't see it.
Nope, and they won't.
Play on. Sanchez did everything right. He did everything absolutely perfectly. Zero to 60 in a hurry.
Yeah, wasn't even close. He is something. I'll tell you, he has very quickly made quite a case for himself for a potential postseason roster spot. It is a Gallagher insurance run. 3-run lead. RBI fielder's choice for Almora. A 1-0 on Zobrist. As a called strike. Because in some ways it could come down to one extra pitcher in case of disaster versus a guy on your bench who can win a game for you, right? So it's kind of the guy to avoid the worst case scenario and the guy to maybe steal a game for you.
I think you go to the postseason series, especially the first round. Probably don't need as much pitching. I would love to have that weapon.
Cubs, by the way, did add to their roster today. Mike Freeman has joined the club. I saw Mike last year. He spent the year at AAA. '78 games, hit .274, and plays shortstop. Full count to Zobrist. 15 games last year for Mike in a Cub uniform. Something weird happens. Probably the only other addition we would see to the roster here this last week plus would be catcher Bobby Wilson, who's on the DL. Mora runs. The throw is not in time. Actually, there's a 2-2 pitch now. 3-2 on. Oh no, it's a ball four. I thought it was 3-2, but Zobrist didn't move. So it didn't matter what happened at second base. That's a walk. Bench was yelling at him. It's ball four. There's Baez with 2 on.
A heck of a try by Kevin Smith, bouncing out on his knees and making that throw, all for naught. Got the scoring started way back in the bottom, or excuse me, the top of the first. He went deep after Zobrist singled. Since then, a ground out, a fly out, and a walk.
Fouled out of play. Kelly Crow has more on Mike Freeman returning to the Cubs. He was back home, right?
He was back home in South Carolina, got the call yesterday, had been working out at Clemson and Furman, he said. Clemson, of course, where he went to college and then has friends who coach at Furman. But he said he was elated to be joining the team, trying to contribute, but it was hard to leave his wife, guys, who is pregnant and expecting their first child, a baby girl, on October 1st. So timing is really everything. He says it's an exciting time for him right now.
Well, it seems to work that way. Mm-hmm. Busy stuff collides at the same time.
Yep.
Thanks, Kelly.
You bet.
Two strikes to Baez. He has homered tonight and walked, 1 for 3 officially. Bounce toward the hole, into left. Almora around third. Here comes the throw by Palka. It's not in time. 7-3. RBI 110 for Baez.
Third run batted in tonight for Javi. Good aggressive base running here by Almora. A little backup breaking pitch. Beats it into the ground, but a lot of top spin. It's able to work its way through the hole there on the left side.
Time for a pitching change. A couple of runs in. 9th inning. Cubs lead 7-3. By Benny's Beverage Depot. Javier Baez, the man tonight. Benny's is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs.
Genmar Gomez, a veteran right-hander, pitches for the 23rd time. 2 of the 4, 8-2. He's been an Indian, a Pirate, a Philly, a Brewer, a Mariner at AAA briefly, a poet, a pauper.
He's done a little bit of everything. He started, he has closed. Just about everything in between.
Yeah, you know, with the Phillies and Pirates, I remember mostly as a kind of a swing man. And then in 2016, the Phillies gave him 9th inning responsibilities, chalk up 37 saves.
Still only 1 out. Cubs have scored twice Almost ninth inning. On the ground to Moncada. They'll get Baez. Relay. Gets away and out of play. That will allow Zobrist to score. 8-3. Probably an ill-advised throw in the first place, as it looked like Rizzo was going to beat out that relay throw, but Anderson threw wildly. And it costs the White Sox another run.
Yeah, his foot slipping out from underneath him as he started to make the throw. He's made a couple of spectacular plays in this series, but at times maybe he gets a little overly exuberant, trying to make something out of nothing.
With Brent Torria out, maybe to check on the slide rule. Not sure.
Yeah, that's probably it, right? No, he's good. Play on.
So we'll see what New York has to say about it.
Didn't alter his path. He maintained contact with the base. Did not make contact with Anderson. He kind of flipped that right hand out there, but he never did touch him with it.
Everything stays the same.
The call was wave.
Joe West chatting with Anderson. You know, one of the things that could be a factor here is by avoiding that outstretched arm of Baez by Anderson. That might mean he can't ever get a call, right? Almost has to be contact for there even to be consideration. So if he, basically sliding toward the bag, he puts his arm out and the shortstop avoids it completely. I don't know how you could call a runner for impeding that defender. It's kind of like a catcher when he's trying to throw to second. And here comes Anderson still
chirping at Joe West, and here comes Ricky.
I think Joe West might have just thrown out Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson was kind of chirping at Joe when Joe came back to assume his position in the middle of the diamond. And they kind of went back and forth for a while.
So he is very upset. Ricky will talk it over with West. When a catcher tries to get interference on a batter, he'll make contact.
Initiate the contact himself. Yeah,
there was no contact there, so I don't know how in any world they could have made the call to say Baez was out.
Right.
There had to be some sort of contact. Jose Rondon will come in. He just threw Ricky out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Anderson's beef is. Looks like Baez was taking a pretty direct path. He did not alter his path. He can reach the base.
So Torria is out. So I guess my point is, if as a middle infielder you are trying to, quote, buy a call, you can't change anything you're doing. You just have to make your play, and if there's contact made, then you ask the umpires to take a look at it.
Right.
But without contact, they really didn't have a story to lean on. 8-3 Cubs as we go to the bottom of the ninth.
A while. Steve Cishek will pitch for the 74th time. He's certainly been busy this year. Just not so much lately. A chance to recharge the batteries. And he goes out there with a 2.32 earned run average. He's converted 4 out of 7 save opportunities. This is not a save situation. Steve last worked on the 15th against Cincinnati, a third of an inning.
Palka potentially could have batted as the tying run in the 8th inning. Moncada reached base, but Justin Wilson struck him out. Avoided that. Cubs added 3 here in the 9th, so Palka with his home run power can only make it a 4-run game at most. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Excellent work by the bullpen tonight. Starting in the 6th, Edwards, Chavez, Wilson, and Cishek. Guessing Hawk didn't take New York's side on that call.
Probably not.
Hawk's final game tomorrow. Always had a fun relationship with the umpires. Mark Wegner comes to mind as Crawford runs out. 1 out here in the 9th.
He's gone back and forth on Joe West. And may have gone back yet again tonight. Who knows?
This is Leury Garcia, just activated off the disabled list. He had a strained left hamstring.
Last year, on one occasion, they fielded an all Garcia outfield.
Willie, Leuri, and Avisail.
First there were the Alous.
They were all related.
Jesus, Matty, and Felipe.
Yeah, the last time we had Joe West, we had cheat sheet gate. I say that very slowly. In Philadelphia, and they actually tweaked the rule that night. Fly ball out in the deep left. Tracking and backpedaling is Zobrist. He's got it, 2 down.
Yeah, the pitcher for the Phillies had a cheat sheet he pulled out of his pocket with the scouting report on opposing hitters, and Joe took it away from him. So you can't have that out here. At least not until MLB tells me that it's kosher. MLB made a judgment, said no, he's okay. And now if the pitcher needs to bring a cheat sheet to the mound with him, he can.
Rondon, who came in for the ejected Anderson.
Just leave the thumbtacks and the sandpaper and the pine tar at home.
I missed it. Somebody tweeted they saw Cishek pull a piece of paper out of his pocket. But yeah, that is now allowed.
I think Steve has a, doesn't he have a Bible verse? That
could be.
Something that he
piece of
reads
paper is no big deal now. It just was the clarification on a foreign object. Two balls, no strikes. The pitch missed again.
Another one just like it. Throw it in there, see how far he can hit it.
He did, and he hit it in the air. Almora coming in. Cubs win. Cubs win 8-3 over the White Sox. They will tie or win